All right, so I wanted to talk today a little bit about my recent trip to Japan. I got asked to play for the Jamie Paul Band as a jazz group from here in Nashville. It's actually a husband and wife couple who have this show, and they book shows around Nashville and all over the country, really, and apparently in Japan too. Um, I used to work with them back in 2020 when the COVID situation finally opened up. We used to play together once a week in downtown Nashville at this club that I used to play. I used to be the house drummer at like 4 nights a week. And so we used to play every Tuesday night. And so it definitely developed a very good relationship with both Jamie and her husband Leaf through doing that. And now they call me whenever they need a drummer. And this opportunity came up to go to Japan. Just sort of a backstory, they used to go to Japan like once a year before COVID to play. And I'm not sure exactly like what the circumstances were, but so this was the first time back. This was the first time being invited back to Japan to perform since the COVID shutdown. And so they asked me to if I was available. This was like a few months ago, and of course I was super excited, and I said yes, and it made a lot of sense, just like schedule wise, and yeah, it was like another opportunity to go to Japan. I haven't been to Japan since 2007 was the last time that I've been there. I've actually been there twice prior to this trip, so now 3 times. Yeah, so I was there for the better part of a week. We flew very early on a Monday morning, and kind of through Denver, and then Denver to Narita in Tokyo, and then had to take a bullet train ride from the Narita airport to Sendai, which is where we were staying for the duration of our stay. Sendai is a smaller city, about a 2-hour bullet train ride north of Tokyo. And we made the long trip. It took about 23 hours, all told, after all the planes and the train rides, because there were two train rides as well. There was a transfer in the Tokyo station, which was pretty crazy. Imagine, the Times Square station, like the subway station, times like 10 or 100 or something. Like, it's insanely busy. And very easy to get lost, and kind of like it was really hard to find our way. Actually, somebody met us, somebody who lives in Japan, and he met us, and he helped us through all the transfers and getting on the right train and getting the tickets, and we were super grateful for him. So yeah, and so I don't even know, like, we never even saw him after that, like after we got on the second train. So I don't know if he works for the company or what, if he had been hired as like a private, like sort of ambassador to help us like through all the, the complicated transfer of riding the trains and such. Kind of crazy. But he was very, very helpful, and we were ever grateful, especially, at that end of the leg of the trip where we're just completely exhausted and just out of our minds, like, having traveled like 20 hours or so. So that was great. Finally made it to Sendai, and as we're exiting the train station, we were met by the group that hired us, which was this sort of corporate, it was a business. It's called Kaiwa, Keiwa, and basically what it is a it's a recycling business. Like they have a recycling enterprise, I guess you'd call it. And so we were playing for these sort of private parties. We played 3 performances in 3 different venues around different parts of Japan. And I'm struggling to remember now. The first one was, I don't remember what the first one was. Isn't that funny? Oh, I think it was in oh my gosh, I am Fukushima. That's where it was. If you guys remember, I think back in 2011, if there was a big earthquake and there was a tsunami, and it took out like all kinds of towns and villages and took many lives, and it was really a huge tragedy. That was in Fukushima, and as well, there's a nuclear power plant there that I think sort of melted down because of the flooding from the tsunami. I mean, it was, what a big mess. So that's actually where we were playing, in that area, Fukushima. And don't worry, we were rest assured that the radiation levels were normal as just being outside in the woods or so. So, because that thought did cross my mind when they told me about all that. We ended up taking these day trips. Well, I'll start at the beginning. Like the first day we had a day off, and after getting in about like 7-8 p.m. to Sendai, we got settled into our hotel, and then we went out for drinks afterwards and some food. And it was a big party with all of the Japanese people who were hosting us. There were many. And it was just us getting to know each other, and for Jamie and Leaf to reconnect with those people that they knew from years ago. It was really fun. It was a lot of, I mean, they bought everything. I didn't have to spend any money on anything, really. I didn't hardly buy any. In fact, I don't think I bought any food at all my entire trip. So there was literally no out-of-pocket cost, which was absolutely amazing. I mean, the hosting that the Japanese, I mean, they just know how to host and how to be a host and how to have guests to their country, and they just gave us the royal treatment. It was really quite something, and I'm so appreciative of that, because so often here, especially here in America, you just kind of get crapped on all over the place, and it's just like, oh yeah, you're on your own for lunch or dinner or whatever, and it's all out of pocket, and it comes out of your paycheck in the end. And unless you have some kind of built-in per diem, which usually isn't much anyways. So even if you do get like a $35-$45 per diem or something, in America that doesn't last hardly any. You could buy a cup of coffee and a donut, and it's $25 right there. So it's like, for me, that was super amazing of them to do that for us. And I'm about to tell you like more and more. I mean, they took us out to dinner each night. Again, paid for everything, and including drinks, everything. Like real good drinks too. Like I was drinking Macallan 12 the first night. We had Japanese whiskey, like good, like single barrel Japanese whiskey, sake. Let's see, what else? I'm trying to remember. The second night we went out to this French restaurant, and it was just like a prefix menu, and all these like really fancy items off the menu are arriving, and stuff that I probably wouldn't normally eat on my own. Like for instance, like there was a salad that came that had like clams on it. Like I'm not a clam eater. Like I don't really eat hardcore seafood, like especially not shellfish. But the clam shells were not in the salad, so it was at least like it was just sort of some mystery meat, even though I knew it was clams, and I ate it, and it was good actually. It didn't put me off, but like some of the stuff like I didn't try or eat, but for the most part, I tried to be brave and try the new things and just try to like sort of integrate myself into the culture and the food and all the everything that goes along with that. I want to experience it, and I mean, if some things you like and some things you're not going to like, so you kind of take it or leave it. As far as let's get more into the playing part, because that's really probably what you're more curious about. Well, first of all, I didn't have hardly any free time again, because everything that we did, our hours were very planned out, and it was always pretty much always with the group. So they had these sort of outings for us planned out for us. Like, for instance, we went earlier in the day, the Fukushima, we went to where the tsunami hit, and there was this sort of this preserved area to show you the actual damage to this one building, and there's a big plaque, and it's sort of like a memorial site because people died there, and it was really just kind of like harrowing. I mean, just trying to imagine what, like, I don't know how many feet of water, like maybe 300 feet of water just sort of like washing over. I mean, literally like 3-story buildings were just wiped out, like nothing left, just nothing but like a cement like foundation. It's all that's left, or like the bones of this one building, just like the steel like garters of the building, and they're all bent. They're all like kind of like, it's crazy. When I upload this video, I might like just throw some photos up for you to see what that was about. There were more trips. There were other days. There was one day where we went and we visited the recycling factory, and we literally had like these big giant rubber boots and hard hat with a mask and a big huge like smock kind of thing. All of us had to wear this, and they gave us this tour that was like all the way around this big huge facility where they're taking all these materials and recycling them from wood and metal and just all rocks and different things, and crushing them up and turning them into things like materials to build roads with, and all sorts of things like particle board, this sort of thing. It was really interesting, although, while it was happening, I was a little bit like, I don't know why we're here. Like, I wish I was still like in the city, because like we took this like 2-hour trip to go, by van to go to this place, and it was like all I want to do is like think about music and play, like, and just like think about the show I have to play. And so again, like this, so there, like I said, there were 3 shows. The first 2 shows were literally 25 minutes long. Okay, our slot was 25 minutes long. There was an opening band, and they played same about 25 minutes, and then the drums I was playing was all backlined from that opening band, which luckily turned out to be a Canopus drum set, a bop kit. That was an RFM kit, so it was a maple bop kit made by Canopus. Snare drum was a Ludwig hammered aluminum, which was kind of interesting. He had this horrible snare drum head on there that didn't like make any swishing sound with brushes, so I was really struggling to play brushes for all 3 shows, really, just because you couldn't get any like noise. And he had some Zildjian cymbals. Now, I was told to bring my cymbals. I did not want to bring my cymbals to this, because I knew that it was just gonna be a big pain in the neck, and like lugging these big hard shell case around with me through the airports and the train stations and all the back and forth schlepping. And I just knew like this is gonna be a big pain in the neck. And I thought, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have cymbals there for me. And sure enough, they did. And so you know, I had this big cymbal case with me, and I didn't even use my cymbals, not once, because I just used his. There was no time to swap out cymbals anyway. Like the opening band finished, and then we came on like 5 minutes later, and it was downbeat. I mean, there was no time to like swap gear out or like move things around or anything like that, really. So, yeah. I was really kind of annoyed having to bring those cymbals just because I knew it was going to be like that. And so, um, but you deal. I mean, I guess in hindsight, at least my butt was covered. If they didn't have cymbals, then I would have been okay. And I actually brought like some sort of beater cymbals like that I didn't care much about because I have a 20-inch cymbal that's cracked, and I have a pair of 14-inch hats that the top cymbal is cracked. Like that's what I brought to the gig to Japan, because I was worried that if they get lost or if they get stolen or something, I don't know. I have to re-up my insurance on all my gear. Like my insurance company stopped insuring music equipment, and now I'm sort of like in limbo, and I have to get all my gear back insured again. So currently working on that at the moment. So that was why I didn't want to bring like anything nice that I would be really upset if something happened to. So yeah, so the drummer had his Zildjians, and they weren't bad. Like the ride was a K-Con, and the other cymbal was a K-Karope, and a pair of, I don't know what hats they were. I don't remember, but they're fine. I think they were K-Cons too. So anyway, yeah. What else? I did not get a chance, unfortunately, to go to the Canopus headquarters like I thought maybe I would have a chance to, because again, we didn't spend any time in Tokyo, none, and that's where the Canopus headquarters is. Now, I'm very much in touch with Nori at Canopus, and he's sort of the head artist rep there. And I called him on WhatsApp, and I've been writing to him and stuff, and letting him know that I was going to be in Japan, and I was hopeful that I would get to see him. But once I got there, that was evident that, okay, yeah, this is a 2-hour train ride, and there's no time for that to even happen. So I talked to him. So what he did was, he gave me a sort of virtual tour, video tour through WhatsApp. And so he just kind of walked me through the whole headquarters and introduced me to all the staff that was working there, and the owner, Senichi. And, so that was really cool of him to do that, and just to see everybody's workstation. And there's a guy painting the drums by hand, and all the different things that I guess it's kind of like it's a shop, but it's also where they make the drums too. So they're selling. It's a store. There's a storefront there where you can buy various drum items as well, which I was not aware of. So hopefully someday I'll be able to go back to Tokyo and spend some time in the city and go there in person and shake hands with everybody and do the proper tour. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. And again, like everything was sort of planned out with the group. So again, like I'm the type of guy who I like to be on my own. Like I'm a city guy. Like I lived in New York City for 6 years, and I'm used to walking around cities and very comfortable finding my own way around, and finding good places to eat and shop and that sort of thing. And just explore. I love just sort of walking and just getting lost somewhere and just where am I? So I didn't have a lot of time to do that, unfortunately, just because it was all group related with the tours and whatnot, the different outings that they had planned for us, which again, it was fine, but it demanded a lot of my time, and it didn't allow for a lot of free time. So yeah, I mean, but everything was, again, really well taken care of. Like, I felt, I mean, the breakfast, oh my gosh, we were at this beautiful hotel called the Metropolitan, and they had this beautiful spread of breakfast every morning. And so it really like helped to like start your day right with a nice big breakfast and get your coffee on and everything. um, yeah, so there was a lot of cool stuff, and just meeting everybody, and just learning as much as you can about Japanese culture and their food and all this stuff. After the so the third performance, I haven't talked about that yet. So the third performance is was in a proper theater, and it sounded really beautiful in there. Great sound. We had a beautiful show. It was great. Like, really felt inspired. I felt inspired, like, especially after not like playing too much the past few days. Only 25-minute sets, and the second gig was in this space that had really terrible acoustics. So it was really extra nice to go into a proper theater where you could hear everything and there was sound. I had a monitor and everything. So yeah, I felt inspired to play. So the video that I posted last night of that Caravan song, that was from that theater. And I have the whole show recorded on my camera. So I might upload a few other songs that we played, um, you know, in the coming days or so. So, I don't know if you have any questions, write them in the comments below, but just know that it was a great time, and I hope to go back again soon. Yeah, I don't know. We were lucky we got upgraded to business class on the way over to Japan. So each of us had like this cubicle, like in the business class section of the airplane. It was freaking awesome. My gosh, we lucked out big time with that. But even going home wasn't too bad because I had a bulkhead seat, so I had plenty of room, to stretch my legs or whatever. So it wasn't nearly as bad as it could be. Yeah. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, it was an interesting trip because, again, we were part of this group that was like this company, and they just had us kind of like doing these things, and it didn't feel like there was an opt out type of thing. So you kind of had to go along and just kind of go along for the ride. Which again it was fine, but I just prefer to have more free time and more like time available for things that I might want to do or see, or people that I want to go and see, and that kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, so that's it. That's the Japan trip. I figured I'd make this video because I think, you would be curious about, oh wow, like he went to Japan, like what's that about? Because I haven't really put anything online about it. I thought about doing like some YouTube posts just about the trip, but I was just kind of tired, I'll be honest. I was just kind of tired, and like just I thought, I'm gonna take a break a little bit here and wait until I get back home. So here we are. I'm back home again, and a lot of cool, exciting things about to happen. I have some local work this week, playing with the Yacht Rock on the weekend, Yacht Rock band, and then Monday I go into full rehearsal for Tori Martin because she's going to be on tour opening up for Drew Baldridge. So I'll be her drummer for those dates. And we have a slew of dates coming up opening for Drew Baldridge, who has a #1 song on Billboard. He's the first artist to have a #1 song on Billboard that is fully self-funded. So that's exciting. But before the whole Tori Martin tour begins, I'm going to be in Indianapolis for all of next week, rehearsing and performing with the symphony there in Indianapolis on a new show called La Vida Loca. And of course, it's all Latin music. It's sort of Latin pop music, if you will, arranged for symphonic orchestra. And I'll be the drum set player for that. So I'm super excited to be doing that. It's great, great work. And yeah, so I'm just kind of, I've been here at home. I've been trying to memorize the Tori Martin show because that's been asked of us. And that is a common thing in the country world. I think it's good to memorize the set. That way you're not staring at an iPad or a chart of some kind, and your head is up and you're aware of things and you can put on a show. The symphony show in Indianapolis, that is definitely a reading show. So I have yet to get charts for it, but there is a Dropbox folder with MP3s and like scores and some information in there. Most of the songs I know or are at least familiar with, but there's one medley that's a Celia Cruz medley that I do plan on looking at before rehearsals start. So anyway, that's what's going on in my world. I'm also trying to get back into like going to the gym in the morning, working out, eating right, just feeling good, like healthy wise. And yeah, so all good things, right? We're just working on our stuff, and you should be too. So keep practicing. And if there's anything you want to ask me, mention it below and I'll get to you. If there's any suggestions about new videos, new content you want me to create, please let me know about that. And know that I'm working on some new content, some new lesson content that is sort of like mobility exercises and coordination exercises, some reading stuff, some more stuff out of the syncopation book and whatnot. So look forward to some more of those type of videos. All right, that's it for now. Brian Zach signing off. Take care.